Sorry for the delay. Thank you so much for having me here this evening. I was really excited to be a part of this, and I'm very excited that so many more people are out and seem to be concerned and committed to what's going on with education in our country. So my name is Melissa Marini Svigelj Smith. Recently, I wrote an open letter to my school district trying to encourage other people in my district in Elyria to have their children opt out of the test if they felt the same way I did about the issue. And so that's sort of how I became linked up with this group here in Lorraine through social media. So I am a teacher. I've been working in the Cleveland School District for 17 years, and like the other educators here, I almost quit at the end of last year, probably for similar reasons. But then an opportunity opened up where I could work in a system that did not tie test scores to teachers or to students. So I now work at the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Detention Center with 15 to 17-year-old incarcerated males. And tests are no longer tied to my evaluation. It was a pay cut, but I feel like I'm a teacher again. So I'm really happy that I didn't have to leave the profession. So that's a little background on me. I'm also a parent of 4 boys, but 2 are in college, so they did not have to experience a lot of this testing stuff that my younger 2 are going through. I was a teen mom, so when I stand here before you speaking about education, I am extremely passionate about it because I am also a testament to the fact that education can save you from a life on welfare and public assistance and working 80 hours a week for minimum wage, because we know it's not a livable wage if you're working 40 hours a week, to a middle-class lifestyle. So these are probably facts you've already heard this evening, and although educators, probably like politicians, are not known for brevity, we are on a time crunch. So all of these things we know about high-stakes standardized testing. They don't improve student achievement, they don't improve teaching. It actually is causing educational inequities in our country, and it hurts students and teachers. I think I've already heard someone give a background as well. But the purpose of the ESEA, when it was signed into law, was actually to help low-income districts with students that had a lot of disadvantages. And unfortunately, under No Child Left Behind, it turned into this whole high-stakes testing thing. So has it worked? We used the Program for International Assessment. U.S. students in 2000, before No Child Left Behind, were 18th in math in the world. In 2009, 9 years later, 31st. So the data suggests that it's not working. High-stakes standardized tests are not necessarily working. In math, in 2012, 27, and then there's always sampling errors, of course, so those are listed there as well. But in the end, we're not moving up in the world because of high-stakes testing. The U.S., though, spends more per student than most countries, so I don't think it's always necessarily, I know money is always integrated into these issues, but I can't say that it's necessarily the sole reason that education in our country is going the direction that it is, because if you look like at a country like the Slovak Republic, they spend $53,000 per student. We spend over double that, but our performances are about on the same line. So I really think we need to look at our educational approaches in this country. I heard the previous speaker mention that Pearson is not a U.S. company, it's United Kingdom. 60% of its sales are from U.S. education business, though, and that was as of February 2013, so I'm not sure. A couple years later, it could be even more.
The library will be closing in 10 minutes. If you need to check out materials or make prints from the computer, please.
It's okay, because we're almost done. The real purpose for me being here is to give some parents some hope about their rights and what they can do to assist educators. And I know a lot of parents are concerned. I see a lot of concerns on social media that if you opt your child out, that 0 is going to hurt the child or the school's overall score. And I know a lot of parents, especially if you are an educator, that's a concern. And I know I grapple personally with that because my 4th grade son has an amazing teacher, and she does not deserve a 0 as part of her rating, whether or not she's effective. But at the same time, as an educator, those 50% scores are meaningless anyway. Like, when you work in an urban district and your children grow 20 percentage points, but they don't meet that cutoff proficiency score, you're basically getting a 0 anyway. And we all know from the data that test scores don't actually reflect what is being taught and what is being learned in that classroom. It's actually a reflection of the community and whether or not the community is affluent, whether or not they have an educated population. So statistically speaking, the only thing that standardized tests have shown in the past is what type of community those children live in, not necessarily the efforts of the teacher. So from an educator standpoint, I'd rather take a 0 because all of my kids opted out and didn't have to take that stupid test, and go to them and say, you know, just like if they had all taken it, it's still not a reflection on me. So I actually last year did, when I was presented with, we had a 12 core test for U.S. history at the end, which I found out about in April, 2 weeks after. I found out about it 2 weeks before. It was 3 weeks after. They had just taken OGT. I had no idea they were taking this test. It's based on the AP U.S. history standards, which is a much broader range of years. And so these poor babies were supposed to sit down for it. And I decided after like sleepless nights, I decided I'm not going to make them take it. I'm just going to throw it out the window, take that 0 for the 35% of my effectiveness score, and probably quit at the end of this year because I can't go through this again. And the students, when they arrived, once the test coordinator left the room, and I was alone with them with our intervention specialist, I just told them, you know what, this test means nothing to me, nothing to you. Color in whatever you want, pick your favorite letter, put your head down and take a nap. I think that was more beneficial to them than actually taking that test. And in the end, of course, just like everyone else described, you don't see the results, you don't know how they did, you know. But somehow the state still said that those students met expectations. So because they only met expectations, my rating was skilled instead of accomplished. But overall, that lets you know, and I talk about that in, I do have a blog, maybe if some of you have seen the form letter. I created a form letter for you to take today if you would like. It's yellow on the tables over there. If you're interested in opting out your child, some of the legal documentation that was on the previous page. We actually are protected specifically under the 14th Amendment through what we call due process. You as a parent, and these cases set the precedent for hundreds of cases that we have now, Meyer and Pierce, about the right of a parent to educate their child as they see fit. And the government cannot interfere in the direction or upbringing of that child beyond saying, you know, they should be in school. So I quote these cases in the form letter so that if you are interested in giving something like that to your principal or superintendent or board of education, and it depends on the size of your district. Shortly after I published my open letter, over 16,000 people viewed it on my blog, and on February 4th, the Ohio Department of Education published an information for students and their participation in testing. So I felt the need to create another letter because in that letter it also said that districts should have parents document that they're opting their child out, and then I guess report that to the ODE. So I sent them a letter directly explaining to them why I was not letting my child participate, and then I also sent copies of it to our state Board of Education members and to the individuals that are on our Senate Education Committee in the state. And so I've heard back from Senator Peggy Lehner that they would like to form a committee about the overtesting, and A.J. Colby was the only board member that's responded to me so far. But if you would like copies of any of that, they are over on the table. Also, I did make multiple copies because I know a lot of people are digital and you may have already read some of the stuff, and I didn't want to kill any more trees than necessary. Form letter is over there. The copies of the letters I sent are over there. There's also a handout about how high-stakes testing is harmful, and on the other side, a little more information about Pearson. Amazingly, their stock jumped up rapidly January of this year, right before park testing started. Right, and there's one more paper over there about the readability of the park test, which the teacher already went over very effectively. But thank you so much for being here and for allowing me to speak with you. And I'm really encouraged by seeing so much interest in changing education. Do you have anything on the way out?
No, talk too long.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming. We hope that you'll continue to talk this up. A lot of the members of both the House and the Senate have seemed very responsive to making a move, and even Dr. Ross had said in January that he'd like to cut things back by at least 20%, and that's before seeing what happens this spring. So when this stuff gets rolled out and the ODE begins to examine how this works, or more likely does not work, I think that more changes will come. Continue to talk it up, contact your legislators. Thanks for coming.